The snow outside didn't fall. It pressed against the tall glass windows of the hotel suite like a silent witness. It was supposed to be the happiest night of my life. White roses, soft golden lights, the faint scent of champagne in the air. And Eric, my husband, my everything. We had just closed the door to our suite when his phone rang. Unknown number. He frowned slightly. Hello. A soft, breathy voice slipped through the speaker. Is this Eric? I froze. Even before he put on speaker, I knew that voice. Bella, my stepsister. I think I'm drunk, she slurred sweetly. Can you come pick me up? On our wedding night. Eric stared at the phone like it had insulted him. He tapped speaker on deliberately. How did you get my number? He asked flatly. I didn't dare call my sister, Bella whispered. She gets angry. Eric, it's so hot here. Hot. It was snowing outside. Eric looked at me, eyebrow raised. I shrugged. Probably Tina gave it to her. Hello. Eric suddenly said loudly. Sorry, can't hear you. Not buying insurance. Already have a house. And he hung up, blocked the number. Just like that. He tossed the phone on the table. Is your sister not right in the head? I hadn't even answered when he added. Like an idiot. I burst out laughing. That was my husband. Sharp. Protective. Unbothered. He wrapped his arms around me. Don't let others ruin our mood. We have better things to do. And just like that, the world disappeared again. Or at least, it tried to. My dad called. Eric pouted dramatically. I answered. Helen, your sister says she's lying in a bar. Maybe you should pick her up. I felt something crack inside me. It's my wedding night. So what? Tina's voice echoed in the background. Is that more important than your sister? Eric's jaw tightened. He gently took the phone from my hand. Mom and Dad, tonight is Helen and my wedding night. If you're worried, you can go yourself. I'll rent a car for you. My treat. Silence. Then Tina exploded. Eric hung up before she could finish. He leaned his forehead against mine. I'm sorry. I shook my head. They've never really treated me like their daughter anyway. And that was the truth. We came home from work. The entryway light was on. The door slightly open. A pair of unfamiliar women's shoes sat neatly at the entrance. My heart sank. Someone home? Eric asked. Bella walked out, wearing an apron. Eric, you're back. My phone rang. Tina. Bella moved out of her dorm. I let her stay at your place. You what? We're family. Why act like strangers? I hung up. Bella stood there looking pitiful. If I'm troubling you, I'll leave. Eric walked past her, dumped the food she cooked straight into the trash. I gasped. Waste. He leaned close to my ear. Smell it. It had gone bad. He looked at Bella. Why haven't you left? She hesitated. It's cold outside. Hotels exist, Eric replied calmly. I almost laughed. Bella had spent 21 years trying to take what was mine. From toys, to attention, to love. But Eric? That wasn't a toy. And she was about to learn that. Bella did not leave that night. Not because she had nowhere to go, but because she had nowhere else to win. Eric served me another spoon of rice. Then vegetables. Then meat. Then soup. My bowl never emptied. Bella stared at it like it personally offended her. Eric, she said sweetly, tucking her hair behind her ear, I hope my future husband is just like you. Eric didn't even look up. You think you deserve it? Silence. The chopsticks in Bella's hand froze midair. I almost choked trying not to laugh. Eric blinked innocently and turned to me. Honey, did I use that Chinese phrase correctly? I kept a straight face. No, that's not how you use it. Oh, he nodded seriously, then turned back to Bella. I'm still learning Chinese phrases from TikTok. Don't take it to heart if I say something wrong. Bella forced a smile, but her ears were red. She wasn't embarrassed. She was angry. And that's how Bella always was, sweet on the outside, burning inside. Bella never actually loved Eric. She loved the idea of taking him. Since childhood, she had this obsession. If I had a doll, she wanted it. If I had better grades, she'd cry until she got praised. If I got pocket money from my mother, Tina would borrow it for Bella. Well, I got accepted into university with a scholarship. Bella suddenly wanted to apply too. But she didn't study. She wanted shortcuts. She always wanted shortcuts. And shortcuts often lead to cliffs. Maybe I can help with the dishes, Bella finally said. Eric's eyes lit up like a child given candy. Really? She looked hopeful. He stepped aside immediately. Great. Take my spot. Wash everything thoroughly. 3 times each plate. Helen's a bit of a neat freak. Bella blinked. 3 times? Eric nodded seriously. You can manage, right? She swallowed and put on gloves. 20 minutes later. Crash. A plate shattered. Bella stood there, holding her finger. Eric rushed in. He looked worried. For half a second. Then his eyes shifted to the broken plate. That plate, he said quietly. Bella's eyes widened. It was from the day Helen and I got engaged. His voice lowered. It meant something. Bella's tears instantly doubled. I didn't know. I'll buy a new one. Identical. Identical. Eric tilted his head. You think memories are sold in stores? She looked like she might faint. I nudged him. He sighed. Replace it. I'll forgive you. Bella nodded repeatedly. But I noticed something. She was afraid of Eric. Not because he shouted, but because he saw through her. And Bella hated being seen. That night, in bed, I asked quietly, do you think Bella is pretty? Eric didn't hesitate. I don't like her. That's not what I asked. She's not prettier than you. He brushed my hair away from my face. She acts too much. I don't like people who act. I stayed silent. After a while, he said softly, your parents are not good to you. That sentence hurt more than Bella ever could. You might want to consider cutting them off someday. I didn't respond, because deep down, I knew he was right. The next day, Bella appeared at our company during lunch. With a lunchbox, she asked around until she found Eric. The office buzzed. Is that Eric's girlfriend? She's cute. Eric never told us. Bella smiled shyly. She didn't deny it. I watched quietly. Eric stood up slowly. Don't call me that. The room went silent. My wife might misunderstand. Everyone froze. You're married? Someone gasped. Eric calmly took out a ring from his pocket. Slipped it on. Yes. He turned and looked directly at me. My wife works here. Her name is Helen. The entire office shifted toward me. Bella's smile cracked. She knows I'm married, Eric continued. She still brings lunch and lets others misunderstand. Bella started crying. I just like you. Eric stepped closer. Do you like me? Or do you like taking what belongs to your sister? The room felt cold. Bella couldn't speak. Look at me when you talk. His voice was calm, but terrifying. She bowed suddenly. I'm sorry. Then she ran. And just like that, Bella lost publicly. For the first time, when we returned home that evening, Bella's suitcase was gone. I thought it was over. I was wrong. Because an hour later, my parents knocked. Tina stormed in and grabbed my hair. You think you're better than your sister now? Eric's expression changed instantly. He pulled her hand off me. This is our house. Leave. My father looked confused. Bella stood behind them, shaking, but not innocent. Eric walked to the cabinet near the door. Open it. The spare key is missing. He looked at Tina. Only family visits. Silence. Then Eric pressed play. Bella's drunk call, recording echoed in the room. If she was drunk, Eric said calmly, why call her sister's husband instead of her own parents? My father's face darkened. Bella looked down. But that wasn't the real bomb. Eric placed documents on the table. Someone transferred money from my company account, using Helen's number. My heart stopped. I traced it. He looked at Bella. It went to your bank card. Bella collapsed to the floor. Tina went pale. My father trembled. You too, he whispered. Bella cried. She took campus loans. We needed money. Eric adjusted his glasses. I was going to settle it privately. He looked at them. But now, he smiled slightly. My lawyer will handle it. A knock came at the door. I opened it. My mother. My real mother. Elegant. Sharp. Powerful. When are we filing the lawsuit? She asked calmly. Tomorrow, Eric replied. Bella and Tina were arrested within weeks. Fraud. Identity misuse. Financial theft. My father aged 10 years in 1 month. Eric still arranged overseas treatment for him. Because he's your dad, he said simply. That's who he was. Not cruel, just fair. One night, weeks later, I felt nauseous during dinner. Eric panicked. Hospital. Test results. The doctor smiled. Congratulations. You're pregnant. Eric looked at me like the world had just given him everything. Spring arrived again. And this time, it stayed. Bella didn't cry in prison. At least not the way people expected. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She didn't collapse dramatically like she had in our living room. No. Bella went quiet. And quiet Bella was more dangerous than crying Bella. The courtroom was colder than I imagined. Not in temperature. In atmosphere. Tina sat beside Bella, both dressed in pale detention uniforms. My father looked 10 years older. Eric stood beside me. Calm, composed, untouchable. The prosecutor laid out the facts clearly. Unauthorized access to company funds, identity misuse using my phone number, financial fraud tied to campus loan repayment. Bella kept her head down until the recording played. Her voice, soft, sweet, calculated. Eric, I think I'm drunk. The courtroom murmured. That wasn't a drunk girl. That was a girl testing boundaries. The prosecutor turned pages. Miss Bella, you transferred money 3 times. What? Bella finally looked up, not at the judge, at Eric. I just wanted security. Security. Interesting word. Eric didn't blink. You wanted what wasn't yours, he said calmly. And that was the truth of her entire life. Tina received a lighter sentence due to cooperation. Bella did not, because she refused to fully admit intent. Fraud plus manipulation. A few years. Not forever, but enough. As she was led away, she turned once and smiled at me, not defeated, promising. That smile stayed in my head longer than the verdict. Dad fell sick 3 months later. Depression, high blood pressure, shame. Eric arranged overseas treatment quietly. When I asked why, he just said, he's still your father. That was Eric. He could destroy you legally and still send you medical support. At 5 months pregnant, I started bleeding. It was sudden, sharp pain. Hospital lights again. This time not joyful. Cold, white, threatening. Eric's hands trembled for the first time since I'd known him. He tried to stay calm, but I saw it. Fear. Real fear. The doctor spoke gently. Stress levels are too high. I didn't need to ask what stress. Family. Court. Public gossip. Office whispers. Bella. Even in prison, she was affecting us. I was ordered strict rest. No work. No pressure. Eric moved his desk home. Canceled meetings. Ignored board complaints. They can replace a CEO, he said, sitting beside my bed. They can't replace you. Then the letters began. From prison. Bella's handwriting. Neat. Careful. First letter. I know you think I'm evil, but I only wanted a life like yours. Second letter. Eric would have loved me too, if you weren't there. Third letter. You always had everything first. I stopped reading after that. Eric burned the 4th one without opening it. She's not apologizing, he said quietly. She's blaming, and he was right. Bella never wanted love. She wanted victory. While I rested, something unexpected happened. The board began questioning Eric. They didn't like the scandal, didn't like the lawsuit, didn't like that I was involved. One director suggested, perhaps personal entanglements are clouding leadership. Eric stood up in that meeting and did something bold. He transferred 15% of his shares to me. Legally, publicly, effective immediately. If you question my judgment, he told them calmly, then question hers too. She's now the 2nd largest shareholder. The room went silent. Because Helen, the quiet employee, was suddenly power. That day, whispers changed. I wasn't Eric's wife. I was co-owner. Bella would have hated that. I didn't plan to visit her. But one day I did. Maybe pregnancy makes you softer. Maybe I wanted closure. Bella looked thinner, but her eyes? Still sharp. You came, she said. I won't come again, I replied honestly. She leaned forward. You think you won? I don't compete with you. That hit harder than any insult. She smiled faintly. You're pregnant. I stiffened. How do you? Dad told Tina. Tina told someone. News travels. She tilted her head. Be careful. A chill ran down my spine. Is that a threat? She shrugged. Just advice. You lose things easily. For the first time, I saw it clearly. Bella didn't want Eric. She didn't want money. She wanted me unstable. She wanted cracks in my peace. Because her existence revolved around comparison. And if I wasn't happy, then she wasn't losing. I stood up. You don't need to compete anymore. She didn't answer, but her fingers clenched. Labor was long, painful, beautiful. When I finally heard the cry, Eric cried harder than the baby. A girl. He held her like glass, like treasure. like something no one could steal. She looks like you, he whispered. No, I smiled weakly. She looks like peace. We named her Spring, because she arrived after the longest winter. 2 years later, Bella was released early for good behavior. I found out through my father. She's changed, he said. I didn't believe it. Some people change. Some people adapt. There's a difference. And Bella? Bella adapts. Bella was released in early spring, the same season my daughter had been born. Poetic, really. One spring began with life. Another returned with something that refused to die. The first time I saw her after prison was at my father's small apartment. She looked softer. Long hair cut short. No heavy makeup. Simple clothes. No drama. No sweetness. Just quiet. Helen, she said gently. I didn't respond with her name. How are you? Alive. She nodded slowly. I deserved it. That surprised me, but not enough to trust it. Dad looked hopeful. Too hopeful. She's been helping at a community center, he added. Community center. Bella, who once manipulated, now volunteering? Maybe prison had broken something, or sharpened it. 3 weeks later, Spring's kindergarten called. Mrs. Helen? Someone came today, claiming to be an aunt. My blood ran cold. She didn't take the child. The teacher continued quickly. We follow strict release policies. I knew, before they said the name. Bella. Eric was silent when I told him. Too silent. He picked up his phone and made one call. Within 2 hours, additional security was assigned to the school. Cameras upgraded. Background alerts installed. Bella didn't break laws. She tested boundaries, just like before. Then she requested to meet me. Alone. Public cafe. Daytime. I went, because I was tired of waiting for the next move. She sat there calmly. No dramatic entrance. No fake tears. I just wanted to see her, Bella said quietly. She's my niece. You lost that privilege. She nodded. I know. Silence stretched between us. Then she said something unexpected. Do you know what prison teaches you? I didn't answer. It teaches you that comparison is poison. I studied her face. No twitch. No sarcasm. I hated you, she continued. Because every time I looked at you, I saw what I wasn't. And now I don't want to be you. That was new. What do you want? I asked carefully. Bella looked out the window. For the first time in my life. I don't know. That scared me more than obsession. Because obsession has direction. Emptiness? Emptiness looks for purpose. A month passed peacefully. Too peacefully. Until a letter arrived. Not from Bella. From a journalist. Subject: inquiry regarding Eric Liang's previous engagement. Previous engagement? I stared at the email. I never knew about that. When I showed Eric, something shifted in his expression. Not guilt. Not fear. Reluctance. It was years ago, he said calmly. Before you. Why didn't you tell me? Because it ended badly. How badly? Silence. She died. The word hit like glass. Car accident, he continued. The night she tried to leave me. The air thickened. You think I caused it? He asked quietly. I don't know what to think. He ran a hand through his hair. Her family blamed me. There was no evidence. It was ruled accidental. I sat down slowly. This wasn't a small detail. This was history. Why is this coming up now? I whispered. We both knew the answer. Bella. Within days, online gossip sites picked up the story. Headlines. CEO with a dead ex-fiancé? Pattern of control? Is his wife next? Board members panicked. Investors questioned. Eric remained composed, but I could see the tension in his jaw at night. Did you tell her? I asked him once. No. Then how does she know? Only 3 possibilities. Old media archives. Someone from Eric's past. Bella digging. And Bella had time in prison. Time to think. Time to plan. Time to research. I went to her again. This time not calm. You're leaking information. Bella didn't deny it. I didn't lie, she said softly. Why? She looked at me steadily. Because I wanted to see if you'd doubt him. That hurt. Because for a moment, I had. You see, she continued gently, you don't trust as blindly as you pretend. You try to destroy my family. No, she shook her head. I'm trying to prove something. What? That love isn't as stable as you think. There it was. Bella didn't want Eric. She didn't want money. She wanted instability. If she couldn't win, she wanted me uncertain. That night, Eric told me everything. His ex-fiancée had been controlling. Jealous. threatened self-harm during arguments. The night she died, they fought. She drove away angry. Speeding. Rainy road. Truck collision. No brake marks. No sabotage. No evidence. Just tragedy. I blamed myself for years, Eric admitted. I thought if I hadn't argued. I held his face. You are not responsible for someone else's reckless choice. He closed his eyes. For the first time, he looked human. Not invincible. Not sharp. Just tired. Bella underestimated one thing. She thought I needed Eric perfect. I didn't. I needed him honest. And he was. So instead of cracks, we became stronger. We released a public statement. Transparent. Direct. No drama. Investors stabilized. Board quieted. Bella's leak failed. Then one evening, Spring's security alert triggered. Not at school. At the park. Bella approached again. This time closer. Too close. Eric arrived before I did. Security too. Bella stood there. Not running. Not apologizing. Just watching Spring play. I just wanted to see her smile, she said quietly. Eric's voice was ice. You lost that right the moment you chose manipulation over family. Bella looked at him, then at me, and finally said, I'm tired. And for once, she sounded sincere. Not dramatic. Not plotting. Just empty. Bella stood at the park that evening. Security nearby. Eric between her and our daughter. I'm tired, she had said. And for the first time, I believed her. Not forgiven. Not trusted. But exhausted. There's a difference. She didn't argue. Didn't cry. Didn't perform. She just looked at Spring one last time. Then she walked away. No drama. No threats. No promises. Just quiet. And that quiet felt final. But the storm hadn't passed. It had simply changed direction. 2 days later, Eric received an anonymous message. Not gossip. Not rumor. Proof. Encrypted emails. Payment records. A private investigator's report. Someone had paid to resurrect the story of Eric's deceased fiancée. And it wasn't Bella. It was one of the board members. Director Joe. The same man who questioned Eric's emotional leadership months ago. The same man who lost voting power when Eric transferred 15% shares to me. It wasn't about love. It wasn't about morality. It was about control. And Eric had taken away. Director Joe had hired a media consultant. That consultant contacted an old reporter. The reporter dug into archived accident records. Bella's prison communications had been monitored publicly. They noticed her resentment. They used it. They leaked the story strategically. And when Bella reached out to journalists, they encouraged her, fed her angles, fed her doubt. She thought she was manipulating, but she was being handled, just like before. I met Bella one last time. Not at a cafe, not at home, at the community center where she volunteered. You weren't the mastermind, I said. She didn't look surprised. I figured. Then why continue? She smiled faintly. For once, I wanted to feel powerful. There it was. Bella didn't create chaos. She rented it, because power had always been borrowed in her life. From Tina, from comparison, from jealousy, from me. I won't approach your daughter again, she said quietly. I'm leaving the city. That surprised me. Running? No, she replied. Starting somewhere I'm not compared. For the first time in her life, Bella wasn't trying to win. She was trying to exit the race. And maybe that was the only redemption she was capable of. Eric didn't hesitate. He moved legally, cleanly, brutally. Internal investigation, financial audit, shareholder vote. Director Joe was exposed for market manipulation and unethical media coercion. He resigned before formal charges. But his reputation? Destroyed. Eric didn't celebrate. He came home, held Spring, and said quietly, I'm tired of fighting. I understood, because for years, our happiness had been something others tested, poked, provoked, as if love needed to survive attack to be valid. But love isn't war. It's choice, repeated daily. That night, after Spring slept, I asked him, if one day I doubted you again, what would you do? He didn't hesitate. I'd tell you the truth again. And if truth wasn't enough, then I'd wait. For what? For you to remember who I am. That was it. Not dominance. Not control. Not perfection. Just consistency. Bella never understood that. She thought love was possession. But love was presence. Spring turned 3. Dad recovered slowly. He moved into a smaller apartment near us. We didn't rebuild everything, but we rebuilt enough. Bella sent one postcard. No return address. Just 3 words. I'm trying, Helen. No jealousy. No sarcasm. Just trying. I didn't reply. Not because I hated her, but because sometimes distance is the healthiest form of kindness. Spring ran through the garden in early spring sunlight. Eric chased her dramatically, pretending to lose, pretending to fall, letting her win. I watched them from the porch and realized something. Bella had spent her whole life trying to take what was mine, but she never understood. Eric wasn't mine to guard. He chose me every day, and that's something no one can steal. Not jealousy, not scandal, not manipulation, not even doubt. Winter had come many times, but spring? Spring always returned, and this time, it stayed.